Blessings, brothers and sisters on earth. It's me, Lori Ann Spagna. I'd like to take a few moments today prior to our Lionsgate, which is about to open officially. Well, it's already open. Of course, it opens every year at the time of the start of the Leo season. But we're about to officially reach the peak on August 8th. So I'd like to take a few moments to chat with you briefly. First, a little bit about the Lionsgate, some information you probably may already know, but more about, secondly, more about the numerology and how it's significant in relationship to this particular calendar year of 2022. So, as many of you know, most of you know, every year the 8/8 is the mark of the Lionsgate portal. And that is the peak of the portal and the alignment with the galactic center, the astrological alignment with the galactic center, and the astrological alignment with the star nations of Sirius, the planetary bodies known as Sirius, and the Sirian High Council. The Sirian nations tend to be very active during this time, interacting with us. So the Lionsgate recognizes alignment energetically with the star nations of Sirius and the galactic center, which is designed to help support us during our ascension, our evolutionary trajectory, right? And these star family races, primarily the intergalactics, the different galactic families, and the Sirian High Councils especially, are effectively using high frequency energies from the non-physical, from the multidimensional realities beyond physical space and time, to sort of beam in energetically these new high pure frequency light codes. And these light codes are always new every year. You know, they're light codes for unity, for awakening, for ascension, for love, for joy, for health, for well-being. This year, there's a lot of focus on empowerment, which makes me really happy. Wisdom, abundance, strength, prosperity, and wealth. So they're supporting us in all the key areas of our existence. And there is a very big theme this year coming in on the theme of personal empowerment, really to help humanity to begin to recover our personal power, because we've, over the last couple of years especially, but certainly for the entire existence of our lives in the physical 3D world, we've been very disempowered. We've unconsciously and unknowingly given our power away, and we are in the process of reclaiming our power. So this is a major theme of this particular portal. So, needless to say, these new codes, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but these new codes that come in to the planetary grid, which is the physical earthly grid, they anchor in through our bodies, our beings, our consciousness, and then anchors into the ley lines of the grid of the earth. It comes in through our own sacred heart centers. And really, it's if you think about Leo, the astrological sign of Leo, it rules the heart chakra and the heart centers. That heart center and those heart chakras are what enable us to access our own multidimensional consciousness through the core of our innermost being. The heart chakras the heart centers are multidimensional portals once we learn how to access them. So this is a learned practice. This is something we learn. We don't necessarily know how to do it until we learn, and we have to be involved with groups and environments where we can learn. That is a huge part of what I teach. Just through the opening meditation alone, when we're doing our DNA activations on the various portal gateways, this one in particular, the Lion's Gate. Now, what I also wanted to address that I think is really fascinating is the aspects of this particular Lion's Gate as it relates to empowerment and also the numerology. So first, let me just say, Year of the Tiger, which is the Chinese year that we're in, Tiger has a lot to do with empowerment and claiming our power. And I'm not going to talk about the Year of the Tiger right now, but I do want to say 8 as a numerology and sacred numerology has everything to do with power. 8 oftentimes has a lot to do with expansion and contraction. So we contract so we can expand. We expand only to contract. That is a big theme of what happens when 8 is a significant numerological force, right? An energetic. 8 has to do with flow, how we flow, because obviously expanding and contracting can be a very, very challenging on us physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically. And so learning to flow and to be in flow is an important lesson associated with the number 8, when 8 is a major theme number. And 8 has to do with authority of any kind, including how we interact in any and all relationships. So authority is our ability to claim authority, our ability to claim sovereignty over our own lives, over our own body, over our own health, over our own mind, to be the gatekeepers of our mind, not just told by some false authority represented through, let's say, mainstream media, what is true or not true, what is real or not real, but really coming into the inner authority, the sovereignty of recognizing how to determine truth from untruth, fact from fiction. And so this is a major theme associated with 8, right? Becoming the authority in our own lives, not letting ourselves be manipulated or cajoled. That also means when we're talking about sovereignty and liberation, we're also talking about breaking free from cultural norms, cultural being dictated by society and culture of what's true, real, right, or accurate. Even the rules of culture that are no longer serving us or that are harmful or detrimental to us. So all of these are themes when we're dealing with a major 8 as just the month of August, and certainly the build up to the Lion's Gate coming up in 2 days from now. But I want to talk about it as it relates to this year also, because what's really interesting numerologically, and by the way, when we're talking about claiming our sovereignty, we are liberating ourselves from this old oppressive third dimensional paradigm, right? We are liberating ourselves, and we do so by claiming sovereignty and becoming not only free thinkers, but beings who choose to act and behave in accordance with the virtues and the qualities that are the basic foundational tenets for the new paradigm, which we know is for the good of all, ideally with harm to none, recognizing that we only can be responsible for ourselves. We take full responsibility for ourselves and all our behaviors, and we relinquish responsibility for another while still recognizing that we are inherently connected to one another and therefore can never, ever not care about others. We cannot be responsible for others' choices or their free will, but we can recognize that our choices will be a direct reflection on the whole, because we are all inherently connected and ultimately part of one divine source, and that everything we do, think, say, and feel affects the whole of humanity. So we take responsibility for everything in our own lives. And this is part of claiming sovereignty. This is part of liberating ourselves from the old paradigm where we gave our power away. This is part of that choice to become more empowered. Now, going back to the numerology, what's fascinating is 8 plus 8 is 16, 1 with the 6. And 2022 is 6. So the message of 6 is always a message of love, care, compassion, and the virtues associated with caring, compassion, forgiveness. Those are 6 is astrologically corresponds to Venus, the planet Venus, and numerologically corresponds to all things related to love, care, compassion, understanding, forgiveness, and physically correlates again to the heart center. Isn't that interesting? It is the heart center, it can be the lungs, it's the whole chest. So it's about, the life force that we are, that is love in a sense. And so when we think about the 8-8 portal, if we look at it numerologically, 8 plus 8 is 16, which is in and of itself asking us to become at one with love and compassion. And the overall theme of this year, 2022, which is 6, which again is love and compassion. Now, if we add 8 plus 8, in numerology we do a lot of adding, right? 8 plus 8 is 16, plus the 6, that is 2022. We come up with 22. So it's an interesting 22, which is, of course, a master number, which is saying effectively, look, none of this is new. This is a redo. 22 is a massive repeat of stepping into our mastery and inviting us to become the masters that we are meant to be, that we were born to be. And in a sense, the calling is to remember, to reclaim our personal power, which is the love that we are, the worth, the value, the deservability of who we truly are, which is source beings embodied, beings of divine source, of infinite love, that we have worth and value because we exist, just because we are, that the essence of who we are is love, is personal power, is joy, is health, is well-being, is wisdom, is abundance, is strength, is prosperity and wealth. This is the truth of who we are, and it's up to us to reclaim this from within rather than continuing to believe and buy into this old system that says we are separate from these things. And so this Lionsgate portal is really about helping us to remember and reclaim this and reunify ourselves with this higher knowing. Now, I can't emphasize this part enough. I can teach these things and we can hear them through our left brain. And that helps. But it does not nearly hold the candle, does not compare to embodying the energetic frequencies, the vibratory states of embodying this energy, which is what it means when people say, I want to raise my vibration. Well, you want to raise your vibration, which means you want to drop the density that has entangled you. We're saying you, but we mean all of us, into the old paradigm. We want to drop the energetic anchors of the old physical world and embody the new, higher, pure frequencies of these frequencies we're talking about, love and joy, health, prosperity, well-being, empowerment, wisdom, understanding, compassion, strength, prosperity, etc. We want to embody these frequencies, and by embodying them energetically, then what happens is it doesn't matter what someone's saying on the news. It doesn't matter what's going on in the physical world. The inner environment is so harmonious with these truths. The vibratory state of your existence is so embodied in these truths that you can no longer be kind of manipulated by that old system. And you start to see through it so effortlessly. Your ability to discern the fact from the fiction, the lies from the truth, the manipulation becomes effortless. And the greatest part of it is the liberation from the fear, even the aspects of feeling so disempowered by the physical world. So I just can't emphasize enough that it's not enough to just learn this information through the left brain. One must energetically, actively engage and participate in the activations, in the transmissions, in the healings, because that is what changes the vibratory state. And I have seen this over the years. I've even worked with many, many people who know a lot of this information, and yet energetically have not made the shift. So their mental state, they tend to believe that they're very progressed and that they know this, but they are unaware of the vibratory energy that they're giving off, or that they're emitting. And so in some cases they're attracting conflicting kinds of people or situations in their life, or they may be perhaps not realizing how or where they're vibrating at, and they're having some experiences that maybe are not always to their liking. I want to say one other part about the 22, the master number 22, which I had sort of alluded to before, and that is to say that 2 is all about relationship. 22 is about relationship to everything that exists. So your relationship to everything that exists in the world is a function of who you are and where you vibrate at energetically, what your vibratory state is, the embodiment of the energy that you have, the frequency of the energy that you're embodying, and the level of consciousness where you're at. Now, that includes, of course, the light that you hold and emanate in and through you, your ability to hold light, your ability to breathe and emit light frequencies, and yes, even light codes. So, of course, all of this stuff, this is what we work on during these Lionsgate portals. And while they're basically 3 to 4 hour calls of kind of information, channeled guidance and information, and of course energy, plus the meditations where we do the DNA activations and we do transmissions and light activations, and they're always unique and different. This is where that change takes place. This is a kind of event that really does change you in the most benevolent, beneficial ways for your evolution. This is where your body shifts from a 3D vibratory state into a 5D and beyond multidimensional vibratory state. This is where your consciousness really expands beyond mainstream. And, I'd like to just reference something recently I became very aware of over the last month or so. I've been traveling again, and I spent a lot of time in Northern California and also Southern Oregon. And during my travels, so much driving, a lot of driving over long stretches, and seeing that there are people in the country who are literally living in junkyards, in rundown houses beautiful homes that have been run down. That humanity is being, in a sense, broken down. And this created for me personally, while I was witnessing it, so much. I was working on my own sense of powerlessness and, sadness and grief, despair, disappointment, for humanity, and just recognizing, where humanity has accepted, this sort of like living at just inferior and mediocre states of existence, not realizing that there's something so much better, not realizing that they are gods in bodies, that none of this has to be. So I'm processing this, because every time I'm processing, I know I'm working on behalf of the collective. And it's when I started to realize over the past month and a half, like, this is some of the healing we're going to do during the upcoming Lionsgate portal. And of course, needless to say, I'm always working with my own eternal ever being, and really recognizing that to me, the solution to all of these issues is all about coming into unity with the divinity that we are. So that's going to be a major part of what we're working on as well during this upcoming Lionsgate portal speed activations call, our DNA activations. Really, we're going to get all kinds of activations, downloads, and transmissions to really help us more fully unify with our own eternal ever being, with our own divine source, with our own soul, our soul's journey, and with our own self, as well as with our divine mother, Gaia Sophia. This is a huge part, because when I was traveling, I was so saddened to see all of the, the waters dried up. I mean, not just small little ponds, major lake beds from waters that have been, misuse of resources, the overuse and misapplication of resources, not respecting Gaia, Sophia, and nature. And this can be transmuted in our consciousness, you understand? To me, this is where the solution is. It's through our consciousness, through our energy, and through the vibratory state of what we change internally. And so while I was driving cross country and I was seeing all this, I was working with my own divine team, my own eternal ever being. Needless to say, this is such a huge part of what was coming through for the upcoming Lionsgate portal. These are so many of the things we're going to be working on. And, of course, I work with the consciousness of so many beings, including the crystalline realm. So I spent a lot of time in Shasta over the last month, Mount Shasta. And, of course, we had our fabulous retreat there. And I was working with a lot of the crystalline consciousness. And the crystals were asking me, why haven't you been bringing us into your calls recently? We'd like to come in and offer consciousness. So we have a lot of crystalline consciousness coming in for the next Lionsgate portal. And we also have a lot of consciousness from our star families, particularly the Syrians, the Syrian High Councils of Light, and the Pleiadians, the Pleiadian star families of light. And we're going to be working a lot with our own eternal ever beings. Most people do not even understand what the eternal ever being is. Most people do not know how to connect with their own eternal ever being. It's one of the most important tools you can develop, as far as I'm concerned. And it's very easy and pretty basic, and yet so advanced, so advanced. So we will be going into that as well. And of course, we have all of our incredible activations, templates, sacred key codes, and star code markings. We're also going to be working with the nature realms and the nature kingdoms, as always. We have lots of activations coming through from them. It really helps us to unify more completely with the nature kingdom, which is the healers for the body, right? They're extensions of Mother Earth, Gaia, Sophia. And this is part of what Mother Earth, through her ascension journey, is really, really working with us on, in a sense, is for us to come more into alignment with her, because she is on a trajectory of healing, right? She is going through an evolutionary journey. She is cleansing and purifying herself of what is not aligned with her healing. She is healing herself now. So it's very important for us to come into alignment with her and all of the nature realms so that we can continue to support her in her healing journey. And yes, so we can continue to live, for sure. I don't mean to be alarmist, but it is a requirement for us to come into harmony with all of nature and the nature realms and the nature kingdoms and Mother Earth Gaia, so that we can continue to live, to physically live. It's really true. If we haven't started to see that already, if you don't feel like you're already aware of that, it's so important. One of the things the animal kingdom has been saying for years, especially the cows, is that where there is harm to them, great harm to them, there will be harm to the earth. And they, through communication with the cows, have really explained that very often tornadoes in the middle ranges of the United States, for example, are cleanup for a lot of the abuse that is done to cows in some of the processing plants and facilities. So you see, we're coming into recognition of how we're all connected and how what we are all doing is impacting our world. And animals are teachers of this, of course, and cows are no exception. So this is just another example. And as we start treating one another with more kindness, dignity, respect, and honor, etc., these old paradigm ways of being, and even the earth, the most difficult aspects of earth changes, for example, tornadoes, for example, drought, for example, lake beds drying up, these things will become a thing of the past. But we have a long way to go as humans. And this is part of why it's so important at this time for us to be reclaiming our power. Because within us, we have the power to transform it all for the better. And we have the power to not only resolve these issues, but to really eliminate them from our reality. And as, of course, naturally, as a star seed here, as what I call a first waver, really a braid-in. I call myself a braid-in star seed. I know that this is part of my divine mission, my divine purpose to be working with this on the ground level, in the physical form, but also working simultaneously with the non-physical to anchor in this consciousness, these new frequencies, this higher energy, this pure state of being, and these multidimensional aspects of what we're meant to bring in here. So, okay, I've said a lot. I hope this is helpful. It's very fascinating to be looking at, the numbers and numerology, and these portals, such as this upcoming 8/8 Lionsgate, just gives us such a huge opportunity for so much accelerated growth and transformation that is so beneficial for us, for our bodies, for our lives, and for our livings. And really, again, I cannot emphasize this enough, the future for humanity, in my opinion, is 100% solvable but also 100% requiring us to get into unity with the divine that is within us, with the divinity of us, to align with our sacred heart center and to come into the recognition of ourselves as the embodiment of love, and to become that and to embody the source creator God consciousness that we truly are, and start utilizing that to heal and resolve all aspects of our existence that has led us to this quite challenging time that we are facing. So I hope this is helpful for you. I hope this brings some clarity. And for those of you who recognize the importance of this, I hope you will join me for this 8/8 Lionsgate portal. As always, you can register on the website at lorispagna.com. You simply head over to the live events tab and scroll down. You'll see the link for speed activations, DNA, sacred key code, and star code marking activations. If you would like the full history, this is not for live events, right? This is a membership of the history prior to 2022 of the DNA activations, because we've been doing these for years, and they are truly transformational for you, your body, your life, your living, your animals too. My animals are like so super conscious. They're so amazing. And even all the people who come on the retreats always notice it too. So if you would like the history, it helps your animals, your kids. It's amazing, right? You can get the membership. Under memberships, you'll see DNA Activations membership right now and through, I think, Monday night. Probably we'll do it till the end of the 8th. There is a coupon you can get. Use the word LION at checkout, LION, and you'll save 25%. It's $111 off the regular rate of that membership, which lasts for a year. It's got hundreds of hours of activations you will love. Love, love, love. So much incredible DNA activating energy, plus the meditations. Okay, so with that, but this is really about this upcoming Lionsgate. So do join us for the live upcoming Lionsgate DNA activations. It's this 8/8, August 8th. We begin at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Please don't wait until the last minute, because the price does go up. Right now, there's still the reduced energy exchange rate, which is only $111. This event is easily worth $444. And on the last day, it goes up to $222. So don't wait. Join us today. Head over to lorispagna.com under the Live Events tab and join us under Speed Activations, DNA Activations, Sacred Key Code, and Star Code Marking Activations. We also do Divine Template Activations, and sometimes we also do Divine Virtues, although it doesn't look like we have any of those for this one. You'll get tons of channeled information and guidance as well, of course. So it helps you really to know and navigate what's coming up in the remainder of the year. It's so powerful in that way because it really keeps you out of the fear and really helps you to see more clearly the trajectory that humanity is on and how to help yourself navigate in the best way too. All right. I hope that's helpful. I hope that has been clear. I want to tell you how much I am so grateful to all of you. You know, these calls that I do, these DNA activation calls, typically about 85% of the participants are repeat participants who do it over and over again. That's because they're that good. The calls are that good and that transformational. So we typically have about 15% of the people are brand new each time, and about 85% are people who come back over and over and over again. And to all of you, I love you so much. I really do, because I know that as we're anchoring this light in through our bodies, beings, and consciousness, we are uplifting the vibratory state for the entire planet. That is fact. That is what we are doing. And by the way, I'd just like to say one other thing before I close, and that is that this year is the first time we're doing a 12th strand DNA activation, a 13th strand DNA activation, and a 14th strand DNA activation. You understand that when we anchor in these into our physicality, that's what enables science eventually to find this, because we bring it into the physical from the non-physical, and when enough of us have done it, suddenly science is able to discover it. Science cannot discover anything that we have not created and put here first in terms of our consciousness. So we are enabling science over time to discover this stuff. We rely on science, we love science, and yet at the same time we recognize that spiritual, metaphysical aspect of source consciousness is way more advanced. Science is just revealing what we are bringing through. So I love you guys so much for participating, because that's what we're doing when we're activating 12th, 13th, and 14th strands of DNA. Because right now science has only discovered up to the 12th strand. They have not yet discovered the strands beyond that. And they will after enough of us anchor more of that in and activate it in our own DNA. So that is what we are doing. And so I love those of you guys who keep coming back, because those of you who keep coming back, your bodies are the ones who are able to hold and embody the most light. Doing it once makes a huge difference, but doing it repeatedly with all different codes, different light, different activations means you're the ones who are really anchoring it into the body, and therefore anchoring it into the grid and the ley lines of Earth. And that is a beautiful thing for humanity, really amazing. So I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening. And once again, I hope this has been helpful. And yes, I hope you will join me on the August 8th Lionsgate Speed Activations webinar. Head over to LoriSpagna.com under the Live Events tab and register there. And I will see you on August 8th, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. I can't wait. I love you so much. I'll see you then. Okay, farewell for now. Lots of love. Bye-bye.